Hey, good morning. It's Thursday, February 20th. Time for some more everyday thoughts. I want to continue what we've talked about the last couple of days about what happens when we drop this shield of faith and we start doing things on our own strength. You see, when this Ephesians 6 warns us about spiritual warfare, and it says we need the shield of faith to protect us from all those arrows that you see on the page there. And when I do things my way, that's not faith. That's me. When I act in faith and obedience to God, trusting that He is caring for me, trusting that obedience is actually a means of grace from God, then I'm protected by this shield. But when I get into the mindset of trying to do things my own way, and I am consumed by something, say, like anger, then I take this shield and I just throw it away. It just goes. Because I'm not living by faith, I'm living by sight. You see, your anger is not your friend. Your anger is your enemy, which will seek to tear you apart. And your anger will not only destroy the person you're angry at, it will also work away at destroying you. I can hear someone saying, well, wait a minute, what about righteous anger? You know, Ephesians says in your anger, do not sin. Well, righteous anger is a good thing. God, one of his attributes is wrath, anger. But here's the difference. When God is angry, it always produces something good. When I am angry, it never produces anything good. Even if it looks like it made a short-term gain. My anger will not result in good things. God's anger will give me the fuel to, say, return good for evil. So when someone is unkind to me, I can return good for evil. When someone is unkind to me and I'm not, it's my anger, I will return evil for evil. Or I will get back at someone. Or I will hold back and withhold and just get mad. And then I'll explode after a while. Those are man's anger. Examples of man's anger. And this is what James warns against. He says man's anger will not produce the righteous life that God desires. Not in you, not in your friends, not in your spouse, and not in your children. You may be able to control people through fear, but that's not what God wants. Later on in Ephesians, we have this challenge, which is a few sentences down, where after he says, in your anger do not sin, in verse 31 he says, get rid of all anger and rage and bitterness. Because they're not God's anger. So this is how you can tell the difference. If it's God's anger motivating you, then you will have the courage to do good, hard things. You can be gentle in the face of strong opposition. You can embrace God's faithfulness and return good for evil. You can really do things that are centered on serving rather than being hurt and wounded. But my anger? No. My anger sparks language, sparks words that are destructive. Like James says, it's just a fire that can blow up and ignite a whole forest. With just a couple of words. That's not flowing from God's righteous anger. That's flowing from my anger. And that's why James says it will not produce the righteous life that God desires. So think about it. When you're angry, and it's your anger, you're taking that shield of faith and you're throwing it away. And you're leaving yourself vulnerable to the full attack of the enemy. Because you probably had this experience. Once you're angry and somebody hurts you and you get mad, then everything happens and you get more mad and more angry and more frustrated. God hasn't called us to that. He's called us to peace. God's good, righteous anger will give me the courage to have peace. My anger will always result in a mess. God's anger will produce good things in me. So that's how you tell the difference. So put away the anger. Pick up that shield and respond in kindness, gentleness, and thoughtfulness, and real care. When someone hurts you, don't think about how you can retaliate. Think about how you can help that person. When someone who's close to you wounds you, remember, that's an opportunity for grace. When your friend says something to you that might anger you, but they may be trying to help, remember what the Proverbs say. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are profuse. Rethink this anger thing. Your anger is not your friend. following God's ways of peace and being a peacemaker, that's what builds lasting friendship, and that's what will benefit you. Think about that today. Pick up that shield of faith, and don't be dominated by anger. Be dominated by giving your life to the one who gave his life for you. Pick up that shield. Stay with it, because we all need it. I certainly need it. I'm sure you do too. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday. You have a great day. Thanks so much for being with me today, and Lord bless. Have a good day. Bye-bye.